from there to here. It's been a long time, but my time is finally near. But I can feel a change in the wind right now. Nothing's in my way, and they're not gonna hold me down no more. No, they're not gonna...
Database. I'd like to tell you something.
Yes, Robert Framework. What is it?
You know, I was thinking about us. We know each other for quite some time already, and you can be found in almost every enterprise application, and I'm so good on testing those. I believe we were made for each other. Database. Would you like to marry me?
Oh my God, yes! Of course, yes! And you know what? I also need to tell you something that you have to know about me.
Yeah, sure. What is it?
Oh, you like it. I have a big family and they all will live with us. Isn't it wonderful? Here is my brother MySQL. Hi. He is sometimes strange, but still he's a lovely boy. Oh, here's my auntie Oracle. And here's my uncle. Hello.
And who is this friendly man?
Oh, isn't it obvious? It's PostgreSQL. And there's so many more. Oh, wait. I forgot my auntie's little son, Oracle Instant Client. He's such a cutie. Everybody loves him.
Stop, wait. That's enough for a start, alright? I hope at least we can understand each other. You all speak SQL, don't you? Up to some limit.
And don't you dare to put any semicolons in the end when talking to me, my dear.
Oh. Luckily, you all are Python DB API compatible, right? All right. Easy now. We'll manage it. Is it all? Can we say we are a couple now?
Well, yes, but there are some procedures.
Which kind of procedures?
Ha! Stored procedures.
I call them functions.
Don't forget a semicolon in the end.
It's been a long night, trying to find my way in through the darkness. Now I finally have my day, but I will see my dream come alive at night. I will touch the sky.
Honey, I'm home. Oh, hi, darling. How was your day? You're getting heavy. Well, I gained some features in the last years. Did I tell you about the try except and the new variable syntax? Never mind. I have breaking news. Do you remember my little nephew, Oracle Instant Client? He's grown up now and he has left the house. Wow! Do you mean your aunt is alone now? What is she going to do? Well, she's starting a new life now. She has even changed her name. Well, this is a reason for a party. Yes, and it's past time we have one. We haven't been out since 2019. Let's clean it up and get ready.
'Cause I've got faith of the heart, going where my heart will take me. I've got faith to believe I can.
Thank you. Thank you. It's really great to be here. I actually would like you to give some update about the database library. Now, please tell me, who of you have ever worked with the database library? Okay, Who did it in the last year? Okay, I see. So for you who don't, you might be actually confused after such an introduction video. What is actually the database library? Well, there's no surprises here. The idea is pretty simple. The database library enables robot framework querying databases in the test automation using SQL. It was created in 2010 by Franz See, and till 2019, it was developed and maintained by Franz See, Jay Schneider, and other contributors. And between 2019 and 2023, there was quite a long maintenance break. No new versions were released, no pull requests were merged, no bugs were fixed. And this is where my story begins. I had a project. I needed to work with some databases. And actually, I tried and liked the database library. But I missed some things, and some bugs were here, which I didn't like at all. And one of the things which really was annoying, there was no support for the new Oracle driver. I'm talking about the Oracle DB, the successor to the CX Oracle. And it has actually some advantages compared to the CX Oracle. One of them, you don't need this Oracle Instant Client anymore if you are working in a thin mode. And I was always considering this Instant Client as an additional complexity I would like to avoid if possible. So this is where my part begins. After getting in touch with Franz See and with a lot of assistance and help from Ed Menloff, finally the project was transferred to the maintenance by Robot Framework community to the MarketSquare. And this is where I step in as a current maintainer of the database library. I started exploring the code, fixing the issues, cleaning up the tests, and I realized that some things were not as easy as I expected. Not like it never happened before, but each time it's a surprise somehow. So there were some challenges. And in order to better understand the nature of the challenges, let's have a look on the architecture of the library. As you see, the database library, it's actually an interface between a robot framework and the database-specific Python driver, which is not included in the database library. It's not a part of it. It has to be installed separately. And this is where some of the challenges come from. So these challenges inspired me to create this video. And you know, some of them might be slightly exaggerated in the movie, but they should give you a better understanding of the idea, so don't take them too seriously. Still, there is truth in it. So what were these challenges? The first one, it's a natural one. The database systems are different. They are different from inside, and it results in a difference outside when you are working with them. Examples, there are different data types. And the databases, they are all talking SQL, understanding SQL language, but there are some dialects. Like, for example, a limit clause, which is supported by some of the databases, including MySQL, and not supported by others, like Oracle. So you would need to switch to another clause. And there are different ways of checking some things. Like, for example, this is a keyword, check if a table exists. This is a keyword of the database library, and these are the ways how it's implemented depending on the database. And this is only a couple of examples. Other challenge, the Python DB-specific drivers. This is this Python module that you would like to install, that you need to install. And they are different. And actually, for the same database system, there might be even different multiple Python DB drivers. Like for Oracle, you have CX Oracle, and you have the Oracle DB now. And they are all Python database API compatible. Well, they should be. They are, but the implementation varies. So, for example, connecting to a database, it's actually a call to a function connect, and it, of course, expects some parameters, some common parameters like connection properties. And the names of these parameters might be different depending on the driver, like server versus hostname. And some of the database drivers, they expect additional parameters like charset, like ODBC driver, like thin or thick mode for Oracle, etc. And the query results might be of different types. According to the Python database API, they have to be tuples. But some of the database drivers are more liberal here, and they deliver tuple-based objects. So it might result in some differences, some difficulties evaluating the results. And my favorite one. The Oracle driver will throw an exception if you put a semicolon in the end of the SQL statement you would like to execute. Why? Don't know. There are also different procedural languages. The procedural language is not a part of standard SQL. So the database systems, they all have own procedural languages like PL/SQL for Oracle, TransactSQL for Microsoft, and so on. And it makes parsing the script files difficult. And calling stored procedures, or sometimes they're called functions, might be difficult because of this difference in the procedural language. Handling the results, handling the parameters. So this is also one of the challenges. And Oracle suddenly requires a semicolon in the end of the procedural block sometimes, and throws an exception if you don't have one. Nevertheless, despite of these challenges, the database library was updated, and it got some new versions in the last year. And I would like to give you an overview of the most important changes. So first, there are some new databases and new database drivers supported. This is Teradata, this is Kinbase, and of course, Oracle DB. Yeah, this was a good applause, thank you. I would give one because I mixed it. Now, let me give you an example how a connection would look like to Oracle DB. Basically, of course, we need to import the library first in the settings section. Then let's create a simple test case, which will check if some records exist in the table. You are using a keyword of the library. It's still the same keyword as usual, connect to database. The first parameter of it is the name of the Python DB module, which I would like to remind you is not included in the library. It has to be installed separately. In our case, it's Oracle DB and some common connection parameters. And this is how parsing the output would look like, checking the results. And if you are talking about Oracle DB, it has two modes, thin mode and thick mode. Both are supported by the library now. The thin mode is default. If you would like to enable the thick mode, then you have to provide the corresponding value to the parameter. And in this case, you do need the instant client. Now, connecting to a database driver which is unknown, not natively supported by the library, it's possible. It was possible before in the previous version. It was possible during this keyword connect to database using custom params. It was a little bit confusing sometimes. Now there are two keywords. Maybe there will be less confusion, maybe not. Anyway, they're different. The first one is connecting using custom parameters. The second one, custom connection string. The difference between them, the first one doesn't take the connection string actually. It just takes the key value pairs from the string and passes them just like this to the connect keyword of the Python DB driver. The second keyword expects the connection string, how you know it, with some URL-like string. And now a new feature. This is finally possible to handle multiple database connections in your test cases. Thank you. Let me give you an example how it looks like. In this case, I have created a keyword, connect to all databases, and put it in the test setup. And I'm actually calling the same keyword as usual, connect to database, providing some common normal parameters and an additional one, the alias. Now connected to the second database, again some common parameters and the alias. Now I have two simultaneous connections. Now how I would like to handle them in my test cases. Basically there are two ways. The first of them, when I'm running a keyword from the library, I'm specifying the alias, like this one. And maybe I would like to run some keyword using the second database, execute SQL string, and providing the alias. That was the first way. The second way is switching between the databases. In this case, you are running a new keyword, which is called switch default alias. And then you are just running a keyword as usual without specifying any alias. Switching again, running another keyword. This is how it looks like. So you are in control. You can use either of two modes. Now, running the SQL scripts has been improved. Finally, the UTF-8 encoding is used by default. When reading the script file, it wasn't like this before, so it resulted in some difficulties sometimes. And now it's all UTF-8. Splitting in the statements has been improved significantly. Now, the splitting is actually necessary. So the SQL script file is taken and split into multiple separated statements based on the semicolon. This is necessary because the Python drivers, they don't provide a dedicated function to run an SQL script file. They just expect an SQL string. And passing the entire content of the script leads often to an error. So that's why is splitting actually necessary in most of cases. Still, it has some limitations. And if you would like to disable the splitting, there is now an option to do this. So in case you know what you're doing, your script is fine, the splitting doesn't work, you're in control, you can disable it. Calling stored procedures. I can just say, now it works. Because previously, I'm not quite sure if it really worked. Maybe worked, maybe seldom. Now it supports more database anyway, as before. It's MySQL, it's Oracle, it's Postgres. And if the database is not supported, there will be a warning message and a cautious attempt to get the results without crashing, just with a normal error message. And return values handling and the parameters handling has been also improved when calling a stored procedure. Now the parameter values are returned, now the result sets are returned, and even multiple result sets for some of the supported databases. And there is also some special handling for some special parameters of cursor type. Last but not least, there are some minor changes, like additional connection parameters are available for some of the database drivers. Assertion messages can finally be customized, and the default messages have been improved as well. You can now provide parameters to SQL requests as separated arguments, good for sanitizing. There was a lot of cleanup and docs, tests, continuous integration, improvement in the code, and my favorite one. You don't need, of course, in any way, there will be no error if you provide a semicolon in the end of the SQL statement when passing it to Oracle. And much more. See the release notes, have a look at the database library, it's live again, so feel free to use it. I would like to say a huge thank you to all of the contributors who helped with these new features. And speaking of contribution, the database library needs you. There's a lot of things to do. There's a lot of new features, improvements, and bug fixes that we need, and it will be all not possible without community support, without your support. Now, I have seen quite a lot of projects where people start using some library, like a database library, and basically it's okay, but something like there's a bug or maybe something is missing. So people start creating custom solutions, creating forks of the libraries, writing own new libraries, and so on. And basically, there's nothing bad about it, of course. There's actually the power of robot framework, the extensibility. But if you are basically aligned with the functionality of the library and just some small bug fix that is needed, so maybe it might be a good time investment to go and fix it, provide a pull request, maybe provide just an issue. So give something back to the open source community. I would like to encourage you to do this. Go ahead, find the GitHub repository, provide an issue, provide a pull request. Find me on the Slack channel, find Edman Love, anybody from Robot Framework Foundation, if you need any guidance of starting the contribution. Thank you.
What an awesome talk! And how good was that video?
Thank you.
That was nice. That was really good. Questions for Andre? There.
Right. You mentioned that you have to install the database drivers separately. Do you include those as extra dependencies of the database library?
Currently not. It might be one of the new features or maybe improvement. I was thinking about it. Currently not. There's absolutely no dependencies on this.
All right. Thanks.
And there's the next one.
So do we have a future pipeline of what databases might be supported? Like is Hadoop or Teradata anything in the future pipeline?
There are a couple of ideas, a couple of issues to support some of the new databases, database drivers. I don't remember the names, to be honest. But basically, there's no pipeline and no roadmap to support a dozen of new databases. If you have a need, go ahead, submit an issue, better pull request, and it would be a nice thing to continue on.
More questions? There.
Hey, thanks for the talk. Have you considered at some point, maybe after you have taken over initial library, to split it actually into DBMS dedicated libraries? So this is a specific library for Oracle, for Postgres, etc., etc. Because it seems it might be easier to manage and maintain.
In any case, it might be easier to maintain the differences. That's true. It might be one of the scenarios of splitting it. I didn't consider this so far, and to be honest, if you start doing like this, then I don't want this huge variety to emerge. And basically, if you have the Oracle DB library, maybe you can start using Oracle DB directly from Python. So this is already a complication for an user who maybe just starts working with the database. So it might be a consideration. Right now, I wouldn't look at it like a possibility in the closest future.
More questions? All right, then thank you, Andre. Show some love.